I'm joined on the Crispin Flintoff show by Ray, friend, neighbour, and loved one of Amu Gibb, who is one of the people who is on hunger strike at the moment. How you doing, Ray?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. Yep.
Well, thank you for coming on. This story is not getting much coverage at all. This was a banner that was put up on Westminster Bridge to get attention for the hunger strike. We support the hunger strikers. People did get arrested on that banner drop, or whatever, but it didn't seem to make much impression because I've looked on the search engine, and all I can see is this from any mainstream media outlet, The Guardian. A headline about Sally Rooney says UK prisoners linked to Palestine action face shocking treatment. So it doesn't even mistreatment. It doesn't even mention hunger strikers until it says in the Stand First, author urges ministers to engage with those on hunger strike. The story of the hunger strike is surely worthy of more attention than it's getting from the mainstream media. Uh, can you tell us about the background to this hunger strike? Who's involved? What it's about? Why is there this hunger strike?
Yes. So there are currently 33 um, prisoners who are on remand in UK prisons who have been arrested in connection to Palestine action. And all of them are on remand because their arrests have involved what is so-called a terror link. So they've been arrested under the Terrorism Act 2000. And also, even though their cases have been acknowledged to not be, they're not being charged with terrorism, they have what's called a terrorist link on their cases, which is allowing which the judicial system is using to their advantage to keep these people on remand. Sometimes some of them will be in prison for up to 2 years before they actually get to trial, so before they see a jury. So they haven't yet been charged or sentenced with anything. And the reason why they seem to be on remand with this terror link is in order to produce this connection between Palestine Action and the proscription of Palestine Action as a terrorist group. So they're kind of being already treated as though they are charged with and being sentenced for terrorism, even though they're yet to come to trial. So these 33 prisoners span a couple of different cases. Some were arrested at an arms factory in Bristol, in Filton, run by Elbit Systems, which is Israel's largest weapons manufacturer, and it's based in the UK. So 24 of those people were arrested in connection with with the break-in to that factory and the destruction of some drones, which are actively being used in Gaza and sold as battle tested.
Hmm.
And actually, six of those, the first six who were arrested on site, are on trial at the moment at Woolwich Crown Court for about 10 weeks. And then the rest of them will kind of unfold. And recently, another arrest round was made under counterterrorism powers relating to a break-in at Brize Norton RAF airbase, where some red paint was sprayed on some of the planes there, and five people were remanded in connection with that action. And again, both of these cases happened before Palestine Action was prescribed as a terrorist organization, which is completely absurd. So it feels like these prisoners have lost their recourse to a fair trial. And so a lot of the prisoners wanted to find other means of resisting. Obviously, when they're inside the prison, one of their main tools is their own agency to be able to feed themselves. So a group of people have decided that the best way to get attention onto having a fair trial and overturning the prescription and their continued commitment to shutting down these arms factories have decided that a hunger strike is the most effective political tool, has a very strong history of resistance in both Irish Republican, Palestinian struggle, and in UK prisons, and will have a really good success at bringing attention to the mistreatment of these political prisoners, but most importantly, to the reason why they are in remand in the first place, which is that they themselves felt their duty under international law was to prevent these arms companies from being able to enact a genocide in Palestine. So they feel like that's their way of getting the British government to take some accountability for what should be their role under international law.
And what's the latest on their conditions of the hunger strikers?
I mean, obviously there are some kind of pressing needs on their healthcare. They're all not, they haven't been eating. Some of them at the moment, what's the date? So it's the 21st. So some of them will have been on hunger strike for 20 days today. They started on the 2nd, which was Balfour Day. So it's easy to keep track of the dates. They're not obviously they're suffering, but what they want us to draw attention to is the fact that this is something that they have agency over. So although we are all incredibly worried about them and doing what we can to look after them, the best thing that we can do to support them is not focus actually on their health, but acknowledge that this is something that they have the agency over. They can choose whether to eat or not eat. And what we can do to support them is actually really, really focus on their demands. They have 5 kind of core demands that they want us to think about. And I think the Sally Rooney article tries to talk about some of those demands, including deprescribing Palestine Action and shutting Elbit down. But of course, the instinct or the mainstream press was probably be more likely to focus on the conditions in the prison and the conditions for the prisoner, which is of secondary importance to those on hunger strike. They're really, really using this as an opportunity to try and push for a larger goal.
Right. Okay. So what can you list those 5 demands?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, happily. So they want to end censorship, which includes the right to have correspondence and mail and jobs. Often people, this kind of is about the quality of life of the prisoners. They often have restricted privileges because of this terrorism link. So end censorship, which would also mean that people would be able to affiliate with each other. Bless you. And that includes, so the non-affiliation includes the kind of restrictions, for example, that I would have on not speaking to them. So this happens across many of the prisoners can't be in touch with one another, which is very isolating. They want immediate bail. Obviously, a lot of them, because they're on remand before their trial, they don't believe, and we don't believe they should be in remand at all. There's no evidence that they're a danger to themselves or anybody else. There's no violent there's no violence attached to their alleged crimes, which I would say are not crimes at all. I would say that actually it's Elbit and the government who have committed the crimes. So they want to be released on bail so that they can prepare and so they can be in their community. They should not be in prison. So end censorship, immediate bail, the right to a fair trial is the 3rd demand, and that relates to especially the Filton trial. There is a series of documents that we are asking to be disclosed between state officials and Elbit, which kind of reveal the meetings and some of the kind of partnership deals and contracts that have been worked on and talked about. And we believe that without those documents, there won't be a fair trial. So we want to have complete unredacted access to the information that would produce a fair trial. The 4th and 5th demands are the most important to the prisoners, and those are to deprescribe Palestine Action and to shut Elbit down. So there is a massive, there is already quite a lot of information that you can find about the deprescription or the judicial review that Huda Amori, who's the founder of Palestine Action, is currently working on. I think the 24th is the beginning of that case, if I'm not mistaken. So
25th. Yeah.
25th, thank you. So very soon. So yeah, November has quite a lot going on around the Filton trial and around the judicial review of the prescription of Palestine Action. And of course, shut Elbit down is a really important demand because that's the reason well, that's the motivation for all of the actions that have led to the unjust imprisonment of these people. And so they just want us to continue what they can't do anymore, which is to put pressure on through direct action and any other means, really, through pressuring our MPs, anyone in power, to stop Elbit Systems being able to operate in the UK, considering they are a producer of weapons that are proven to be arming the Israeli Defense Forces, the IOF, in occupied Palestine. And we now see an unfolding genocide, and we know how complicit the UK is. So to shut Elbit down is their main demand, really.